Hey everyone, welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. Welcome especially if you're new. If you enjoy talking about movies and staying up to speed on what's in theaters and what's worth checking out, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a review. Alright, with that we're going to get into today's review, which is for Inu-oh. It just hit theaters this last week, I believe, at least in my region. I think it was released last year though, at least at some film festivals. But we're going to dive in and talk about it here. So in this movie, a cursed dancer and a musician stun society with electrifying concerts in this animated rock opera. So yeah, that is the synopsis. I knew nothing going into this film, and it took me probably about half the film for me to realize that that's what it was about. It's not very clear off the from the start that that's what the movie is going to be about. So it definitely took a lot of like paying attention to try to figure out what was going on and to piece it together, which isn't necessarily a problem. It just meant that it was a little bit more work for me to follow. And yeah, I thought that the opening shot, like animation wise, was gorgeous. Like that was probably one of my favorite things of the film. But the animation throughout was kind of weird. It was hit and miss. Like some shots were really well done, but then other shots I thought like the art was a little lacking, and you'd get like a 20-second clip of kind of a lackluster animated scene of like the crowd in attendance to the concert. And yeah, that's I don't know. I thought that was kind of a weird spot to like hold the focus of the camera on the audience, especially as long as they did in some spots. So it was kind of a mixed bag for the animation, and I feel like they kind of switched styles here and there. There were some really interesting aspects actually for how they. So this is it's maybe a minor spoiler, so maybe skip ahead a minute if you don't want to know anything. But they reveal this within like the first 10 minutes of the film, or it's within the first act certainly. But one of the characters is blind, and the way that they animate kind of his perception of the world was really interesting. It's kind of like blurred, and it's yeah. So I really liked kind of how creative they were on that front, and yeah, not like having something sort of come into focus and shape as he kind of hears them or feels them. I don't know if he lost all of his vision or if he still had some of it left. That part was a little unclear because of how they were, displaying it in the art style. But yeah, so there's some things I really liked what they did, and then others that I didn't for the animation. So that was a solid mixed bag. And then I thought that the music wasn't all that great, at least for my personal taste. So like the yeah, so it was not entirely up my alley. I think I liked the last song or the second to last song. I think it was the last song that was featured in the film, and like pretty much it was the last performed song. We'll call it that. If you know, you know. If you haven't, then I don't think that's a spoiler. But I think that's the only one that I really liked because there's several like performances throughout, and I felt like most of them were fairly repetitive, and they went on a long time, and they also strung them together like back to back. I think they had four performances back to back to back to back, and without really any sort of story in between. And I just think that the pacing of like the whole middle of the film was completely like halted because of that. And it made me very uninvested in the film at that point. So I think it started off and I was intrigued, and then the second act really took me out of it. And then the third act was actually pretty interesting for where the story went and the message that they had to tell. And without kind of getting into specifics of the story, I think this remains still spoiler free. The main message that they're telling or kind of examining is like the danger of seeking fame and what that can do to a person and what they're willing to trade for that for success and fame. And then the other one is basically like the healing power of music, which like as I do genuinely love music as like a whole category. Granted, I prefer some genres over others, and it doesn't mean I absolutely love every single piece of music, but it's a very core part of who I am. So like having that be the main message of the film, basically like the healing power of music, I would expect to really like the film, but for whatever reason, it just didn't all come together for me, and I was left just feeling kind of meh on this film. Like, I wanted to like it more because of that, but yeah. So overall, I thought the characters were interesting. Some of them or parts of it did remind me of Pupella of Chimney Town, I believe it is, that released in, I think I saw that in theaters earlier this year. But yeah, so there's aspects that reminded me of that, and yeah, I like the story was interesting enough, kind of like on paper, and like the message that it had to say on paper was good. But for whatever reason, it didn't click with me when I saw the film, and yeah, left kind of feeling mess. So overall, I do give this one a C. Unfortunately, like I wanted to like it more, and kind of wish I had, but that was my honest kind of reaction sitting through it, and I think that was mainly due to the second act and how it just pulled. I felt like the second act dug itself a hole, and it just didn't quite climb out of it. I think if you took that out and trimmed it down a lot, I think it would get it into the B category for me. But if you've had a chance to see the film, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to smash that like and subscribe button so you never miss a review. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.